So today I'd like to make a short video to answer the question, are demons evil? First of all, we're talking about the spirits here in like the Lesser Key of Solomon or the Grimoire Verum, or like traditionally entities that have been demonized by Christianity and sometimes by previous societies and religions as well. And other times they're like former goddesses or messengers of these spirits. So let's get into that. What does that really mean to be evil? Does that mean like it's corrosive on like your moral virtue? Well, what is that even? And different societies have had different ideas about what virtue looks like in their society and what traits are important to have in order to get on in that particular society during that particular time period. And so I think sometimes we can sort of get lost in this black and white thinking of something being good or something being evil. And I'll give you some examples. There are some things that we tend to actually think of as good, but in fact can cause negative effects upon our lives. I'll give you two big examples for me that I've experienced is righteousness and love. With righteousness, I always wanted to be virtuous and to be seen as a good person. And so I actually went out of my way to do things that were virtuous based on somebody's idea of what being virtuous was. But the thing is, sometimes I went so far into that I was actually doing things that were very bad. And staying in the relationship with my ex was like just one example of that. But this can show up in other ways as well, like if you do something like you become a vegan but like lose sight of other important things. That can also be another example of somebody becoming too righteous and just kind of focusing on being a zealot and not realizing that what they're actually doing is negative. Love is another big one. And when we think of love, oftentimes we think of romantic love, but sometimes it can be like this universal idea of love. But for most people, we have certain people we're like super close to and we love them so much that we want to be with them and we want what's best for them. And sometimes this can go into like this idea of, I know what's best for you, so I'm gonna like do it for you, or I'm gonna like help you make the right decision. And then we can kind of actually tromp over somebody's authentic self and try to like push them in a direction that we think is good for them. And we're not really them, and we don't really know them, so we're like trying to make them be something they're not in our push to love them. And this is where love can kind of go wrong as well. So I think the lesson with these spirits is to be aware of the ways that you're thinking about things, whether you think things are good or bad or like somewhere in the middle, and just think of how these things are affecting your life. And if things are affecting your life in a way that is beneficial for you or not. And this goes for any kinds of spirits or relationships.